Hey guys, welcome to the fourth and final video in our series about how you can master the ACT writing section. Today we're going to discuss the fourth skill category of the rubric, which is language use. So this includes things like punctuation, grammar, tone, style, and some other things as well. So let's figure out exactly what you need to do to get a 6 out of 6 on this category of the rubric. Like the first category, there are 4 criteria you must meet to get a 6 on language use. The first criteria is that your use of language is not just sufficient or good enough or average, but that it actually enhances your argument in and of itself. This means that you use things like vocabulary and tone and grammar and style and sentence structure, or just about any other English convention effectively to the extent that it makes your argument stand out as more effective than if you hadn't used those conventions as well as you did. And the English conventions that I just mentioned are a great way of achieving that. For example, you may want to have a serious informal voice or tone for a topic that is more serious or formal. Or you may want to use advanced vocabulary in a discussion of advanced scientific topics. So you kind of want to tailor your grammar and English convention usage to what your topic is and what your argument is. And the main way that you do that is by thinking of your argument, what it means and what it's trying to say, and think of how your audience would best receive it. And you want to vary the level of formality depending on those two things. And these conventions that I just mentioned are just examples, and this first criteria is just asking you to use a variety of tools, English tools, to advance your argument.
Criteria number 2 is that you vary your sentence structure. This is something that's extremely important. Let me show you an example of a paragraph and you can go ahead and decide what's wrong with it. Now, as you can see, the problem here is that all of the above sentences follow the exact same structure, hence creating a boring set of sentences and decreasing the effectiveness of the argument. The best way to avoid this is by varying the length and structure of your sentences, which can easily be done by using certain transitional words and phrases, using words like and, as well as, and other similar phrases for sentence variation, and just diversifying the organization of words and delivery of your sentences. This will go a long way towards making every sentence feel somewhat unique and fulfilling this criteria. Another way to do this is to occasionally strategically place certain sentence structures together to attain a certain effect, such as in a parallel structure. If you don't know what a parallel structure is, here is an example. You can see here that the 3 phrases separated by the commas have a similar structure called a parallel structure. This is just one example of a way in which you can write a sentence or sentences that have an appealing structure or flow, which increases the grammatical appeal and your argument's effectiveness. Experiment with different sentence structures in your practice essays and see what works and doesn't work, and you'll start to diversify your sentence structure more and more. Also, if you're looking to get better at any of the categories of the ACT writing rubric, a great thing to do is to look at other essays that scored really well with this rubric, because then you can see what they did well and how they got the high scores that they did, and then learn from it and implement the same things into your own essays.
Criteria number 3 is that you use a voice and a tone that is effective and strategic. So what exactly is voice and tone? I kind of talked about this earlier, but what is voice and tone? These 2 literary elements refer to the attitude and style of delivery that the author employs. And when you're writing your essay, you want to make sure that your style of delivery is appropriate for what you're trying to say and for what your audience is. For example, if you're writing a more serious and more formal essay about a more serious and more formal topic, you probably want to employ a voice that is appropriately serious and formal for your topic and for your audience, because doing that will appeal to the audience more and it'll increase the effectiveness of your argument. On the flip side, if you use an informal tone or voice for a more formal topic or a formal audience, you can see where that's going to go wrong. One thing that is common among most ACT writing prompts is that they're about social issues, which means that you want to use a formal or semi-formal voice and tone. So the question is, how do you establish a tone or a voice for your essay? A good way to explain this is through the example of a speech. If you want to establish a semi-formal tone or voice in a speech, you probably want to use semi-sophisticated vocabulary, speak from the perspective of someone who is serious, avoid humor, avoid slang, and use stories and anecdotes in your delivery that are also serious. The same principles can be applied to your writing essay. Just think of what things make a speech or an essay formal, and try to maximize those things in your own writing. You can probably come up with more ways to do this just by thinking about the question that I just asked, and as with all other parts of the ACT writing rubric, the more you practice this stuff, the more you practice trying to set a tone or a voice, the easier it will become.
The last criteria is that your grammar has to be clear enough that it doesn't impede understanding. This is the simplest of the ACT writing rubric criteria, and it's all about how many grammar errors you make. To get a 6 in the language use category, you have to make only a few errors at most, but not to the extent that they make it harder to understand the essay. That's it. This can easily be done by simply rereading the essay after you're done writing it and making any edits as necessary.
So that's all for the ACT writing rubric. If you stick to the things that we discussed, the criteria we discussed in these last 4 videos, you should definitely find yourself scoring a 12 on the ACT writing essay. Obviously that comes with practice and with trying to find how you specifically can go about doing those things on your own. For more information on the writing section, make sure you saw those last 3 videos in this series. Also, we have tons of more ACT prep content on our Instagram and YouTube pages. And on our website, which is also linked below, we have a full course called the 3 Steps to Master the ACT, which is packed with all kinds of test prep information and resources that you can use and take advantage of in your ACT exams. For more free ACT content, be sure to subscribe and leave any suggestions you have in the comment section below. Don't forget to like as well. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next one. This is Shahir Mirza from 5 Academy, signing off.